So hello everyone. So I am Sridharan, Assistant Professor from the SNS College of Physiotherapy. So in this video, we're going to see about the cerebral cortex layers. So generally, this cerebral cortex have the different kinds of layers. So generally, this cerebral cortex is consist of the six-layered structure, which is also called as the neocortex. So these layers were categorized into the category 1 to category 7 with the specific type of the cell types. So generally the layer 4, which is the input from the thalamus, and the pyramidal cells in the layer 3 and layer 5 is for the output from the brain to the other structures of the body. The variations by the region have been identified by the layer of the thickness of the layers that surrounded by the cerebral cortex. So, for example, these motor cortex have been the thickest layer, which is known as the layer 5. Next, we're going to say about the white matter and the fiber tracts. The association of the white matter and the fibrous tracts, which is present in the inside structures or the inner layers of the brain. The association fibers which connects the areas within the same hemisphere. For example, arcuate fasciculus is one of the association fibers mainly present in the hemispheres, which connecting the different areas of the brain. Next fiber tract, which is known as the commissural fibers, which connecting the two different hemispheres. So these commissural fibers were mainly present at the base of the brain, which is known as a structural format, which present at the base of the brain is corpus callosum. And the final fibers of the brain which present is known as the projection fibers. These projection fibers mainly connect the cerebral cortex to the lower brain under the spinal cord. These projection fibers are nothing but the corticospinal tract. And the final role of the fiber tracts is the mainly plays in major roles such as the communication and integration. Next, we're going to see about the hemispheric specialization. So, the lateralization, which is the present at the lateral hemisphere, mainly helps in the person for the language, logic, and analytical thinking. Then, this right hemisphere mainly helps in the spatial thinking, creative, emotional, and processing activities. This corpus callosum enables the interhemispheric communication, and this split brain studies which mainly helps in the insights from the different served corpus callosums. So in this picture we're going to see, right, there is an short form for the a which are the areas which specialize in their activities. So in this picture mainly shows the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic are the three major activities that takes place in the lateralizations of the brain. Clinical correlations. So mainly the main correlation of the clinical factors which is placed in the hemispheres are nothing but the lesions. So these lesions what takes place at the frontal mainly helps affects the personality changes, whereas these lesions if affected at the parietal layer, it forms or it leads to the neglect syndrome. If these lesions were present at the temporal region, it causes to the memory loss. So, example for this memory loss in the that lesion that present in the temporal is nothing but the condition which is known as the Alzheimer's disease. If these lesions were present in the occipital, it may lead to the visual agnosia. Okay, then one of the main clinical correlations that takes place in the cerebrum is the stroke. So stroke it is nothing but which affects of the one hemisphere, which may leads to causing the contralateral deficits in the whole body. And the other one of the clinical correlation is nothing but the epilepsy. So often it originates majorly present at the temporal lobe. And these correlations are the different lobes, which leads to the common lesion effects. If the frontal lobe is affected, it leads to the impaired judgment and the motor weakness. If the parietal lobe is affected, it leads to the sensory loss and the spatial disorientation. If the temporal lobe is affected, it leads to the auditory hallucinations and amnesia. And finally, if the occipital lobe is affected, it may lead to the blindness in the visual fields. So, for the major summary for this topic is the cerebral hemispheres were the core for the higher brain functions. These structures are the lobes, cortex, and the white matter. So functions of the cerebral cortex are nothing but the sensory, motor, cognitive integration. The importance of the cerebral layers are the basis for the human intelligence and the behavior. So thank you. See you on the next video.